And the next stop, Zurs, located high in the Austrian Alps. Naturally, it wasn't long before Funk ran into a couple of more old friends. Lenny Earharter from Sun Valley, Idaho, and Herbert Yoakum, who owns a hotel in the village of Zurs. Herbert and Lenny offered to act as guides for the day and show the three Americans the mountain. Mike said, "Great, just don't take us any place that's too steep." And they said, "Don't worry." Lenny and Herbert are the first off. The conditions are perfect. The slopes are wide open and treeless. The sky is clear. The sun is hot, and you can ski anywhere in the mountain. They got to a steep spot, and Mike yelled, "Hey, Funk, don't let him take us down there. It's too steep." Ron says, "Learning to ski is just like learning to play tennis, Mike. You have to play with somebody better than you before you get better. Just be quiet and stay in line." Leonard Earharter was born and raised in Zurs, but for the last 10 years, he has taught skiing from Sun Valley, Idaho to Australia. Herbert Yoakum is 46 years old and has lived and skied in Zurs all his life. Ron Funk is originally from Portland, Oregon, where he began skiing at the age of 15 on the slopes of Mount Hood. Mike Zutell is from Hermosa Beach, California, and he dabbled in skiing in the local mountains before becoming a ski bum. Ed Ricks grew up in Fresno, California. He started skiing in the Sierras before taking off to Europe. When the sun is hot, the best hours for skiing are in the morning. The afternoons are perfect for those leisurely European lunches. So Lenny and Herbert call for a lunch break. It had been a great day, and Mike and Ed are fast realizing the advantages of traveling with a guy like Ron Funk. He must know somebody in just about every ski resort in Europe. Guys like Yoakum and Earharter. Skiing with them and getting the cook's tour of a new area is great. They'd never had skied some of those steep spots if they'd been alone. It had other advantages, too. Herbert owned the Lorenzen Hotel in Zurs and invited them for a free lunch. After lunch at the outdoor bar, Herbert was telling the old skier's story titled, "You Should Have Been Here Last Year." We had some of the best snow conditions we've had in 10 years. Oh, you should have seen the powder, billowing up into your face. I'll never forget one day. A storm had closed the Arlberg Pass, so I closed the hotel and had the whole mountain to myself. Powder was so deep that I didn't see my skis all day. Skiing by myself was fun, but then I realized that there was no one around to see all my great turns. It was then I saw the American, Bob Smith, high on a ridge, and he was something to see. Silhouetted against a blue sky with silver snow billowing over his shoulders. Smith and I skied the whole day together and had a great time. Then it happened. On the last run, Smith got ahead of me. When I reached the top, he'd already started down. He was in a dangerous avalanche area and didn't know it. I held my breath. Everything went well at first. Then near the bottom, Bob crossed the tip and fell. I heard a tremendous noise, avalanche. The whole slope let loose. Smith was gone. Then I saw his head above the snow. He was all right, but shaken up a little. Remember, always stay with your guide. I wonder whatever happened to Bob Smith. He promised to come back and ski with me this year, but I haven't seen him yet. Ever run into him in the States? Funk says, yes, Smith's an old ski buddy of mine. I saw him earlier this year in Jackson Hole during the first big storm of the season. I remember the wind was blowing about 30 miles an hour. It was snowing like mad. Jackson Hole is located in the Tetons of Wyoming, and the first storm of the year is always a big one. There were a few people riding the cable car and sticking to the trails, all except Bob Smith, who was out in the trees testing his new no-fog goggles that he'd invented. Powder snow is the best during a storm because the snow crystals haven't had time to settle, and it's like skiing in bubble bath. Being able to see is a problem, but Smith thinks his goggles are the answer. And today is testing day. Bob's advice to blizzard skiers is, always remember, the dark, fuzzy objects ahead are trees. By trade, Bob Smith is a goggle designer, but by profession, he's an orthodontist. He takes 6 months off each year to test his goggles. Bob's chief assistant tester is another doctor, a pathologist named Sam Southwick, who also takes off each year to test the goggles. Here comes Sam now. In one place, Sam comes over a sharp ridge, and the whole slope gives way underneath him. Avalanche. Sam grabs for the rocks. He can't hold. He's going down with the slide. Finally, he comes to a stop in the middle of the slope, and Bob yells down, "Hey, Sam, look, they work. Your goggles aren't even fogged." It continued to snow for 3 more days and nights. People wondered if it would ever clear up. On the 4th morning, the sky turned blue, and Sam Southwick and Bob Smith were out early. This was not a work day. This was a ski day, and Smith was first off. And Dr. Sam is close behind. The conditions were perfect, but every once in a while, Bob and Sam can't help thinking about business. Bob came through one group of trees and yelled down, "Hey, Sam, look! This is goggle testing snow. This is the deep stuff." Sam yelled up, "Hey, Bob, do the goggles really work?" And Bob says, "Yeah, man." Some of the most unique and fantastic ski terrain in the world can be found in Jackson Hole. And no one knows it better than the director of the Jackson Hole Ski School, Olympic champion, Pepe Stiegler from Austria. When Pepe comes to a rock or drop-off, he doesn't go around. He just tucks his knees into his chest and flies for a while. Late in the afternoon, Stiegler meets Southwick and Smith on a run called South Hoback. It's already dark in the valley below, but here in the mountain, the setting sun is placing its last kiss upon the high slopes.